Yes, guys, how are we? Archie here. I hope everyone's amazing. And on today's video, I'm going to be talking you through another client case study, but this one's a little bit different. I realized that I always talk through the kind of big transformations, the big before and afters, but I don't necessarily talk through the ones that are actually probably more important. And I always say the before and afters, they're just a visual part of what I can share, hence why I share them all the time. But that is 1% of what we do in reality. So today I want to talk you through something a little bit different. Don't get me wrong, there's an amazing before and after with it, but the most important thing is ultimately what James got from working with us. So we're talking about James Rogers going from burnt out to thriving and how he absolutely changed his life within just 3 months of working with myself and my team. So let's talk you through it, guys. Now, James' starting point, he's a commercial finance broker. He's a property investor. He has a family, two young girls that he looks after. He runs a business called Property Poppadoms that I'm sure a lot of you would have heard of. It's an amazing network. I believe it's the biggest property networking group in the UK, which is absolutely amazing. And this led to obviously poor nutritional habits, as you can imagine. He's visiting a lot of his own networks, going to 3-4 a week and having a curry every single time, which led him to the position where he was, which he didn't want to be in, out of shape, bit of a belly, and ultimately not feeling very good. But what ultimately happened was where he had all of these things to look after, the work, the business, the family, more importantly, he put himself to the back of a pile and he consistently neglected himself. He consistently put himself at the back of the pile, which meant that he was feeling very, very burnt out. And when I say burnt out, I met James about 5 months ago at a Prosperity Network event, again, another networking group, in January. And he told me how much he was struggling, and he said it was almost like fate because he was getting super ill. He thought he was going to find himself in hospital. He couldn't concentrate. He had awful brain fog, and everything almost felt like he was going to shit for himself. And he knew that wasn't on. He knew that he needed to change, but he felt so stuck. And like I say, he said it felt like fate that we kind of met together out there, and we were able to get something going. So like I say, he thought this was all normal. He thought that this was part and parcel of being a business owner, and you just had to grind through it. It's normal to feel burnt out. It's normal to feel like you've got no energy. It's normal to have kind of brain fog and all of that stuff because you've got so much going on. And I think this is how a lot of business owners think, and that is their belief system. When in reality, my belief is that it should be the complete opposite of that. Your business is something that should give you energy. It's something that should make your life better, not worse. And when we reframed this for James, it was a massive changing point. So before I go into anything, I just want to run through ultimately James's belief system before he came to us and some of the things that he said to me before we started working together, and see if you can relate with them, and hopefully give you a couple of pointers on them as well. So number one, this is just what building something and being busy feels like. That's something that James said to me in terms of building his business, the networking, having a family. He just believed that he felt like he should have 10% of his battery left every single day because he's giving it all out to other people. I completely disagree. And I believe, yes, there's going to be days where you feel tired and you just have to push through it. But majority of the time, you can still be feeling amazing. You can still be thriving ultimately and have an amazing energy. Number two, I just don't have the time. Again, this is a big thing for James. Again, how busy he is. He literally doesn't have much time to give. But when we audited things, we found time and we made it work for him. A big belief for a lot of people is that they have to train like bodybuilders and they have to spend their life in the gym to get in shape. When in reality, there's small little lifestyle tweaks, habits, routines, things in your nutrition that we can do that take no extra time to make you feel and get you feeling a lot better and get you to a much better position. Number three, I have to eat boring and bland foods to get in shape. He thought he'd have to give up his curry nights and so on and so forth. Again, not true. Number four, massive one for James. I think he's having like 10 coffees a day that are like double shots of just mental. I can't live without caffeine. Again, he used caffeine to just power through his days. He'd wake up, coffee to make sure that he could continue going. Number five, I have to go all in to make a change. Now, this is something that actually holds a lot of people back because ultimately, if you think about that on another level, if you believe that you have to go all in to get started and all in to make a change, if your life is not at a position where you can go all in with your health and go all in with improving your energy and your health and your performance in general, then you're never going to get started because ultimately something else is always going to be taking your attention. So it's really important that we overcome that thought that we have to be all in. We don't. Number six, I've tried everything and it won't work around my lifestyle. Number seven, I'll sort it when life slows down. Now isn't a good time. I have too much on. I mean, I think everyone in the world, including myself, has used this excuse at some point, but you have to call yourself out on your own bullshit. There's never a better time than now. The stars are never going to align for you. And it's really, really important. I mean, how many New Years have you said, oh, this is going to be my year? Or how many Mondays have you said, I'm going to get started on Monday, and it hasn't happened? You have to change the mindset and realize that this isn't something that you just get started with when you want. This is a lifestyle to change your habits around your life and turn you into a better person. Number 8, maybe I'm too far gone. Maybe I can't actually make this change. Number 9, I can't take downtime. I need to constantly be pushing forwards and be building for my family, which is something I completely understand with myself as well. I struggle to take downtime because I believe in my mission so much and what I'm doing. However, to be at our best, we have to take downtime to reset, to recharge our batteries and to come again. And that's something that James learned very early on. I challenged him to go and do old hobbies. I challenged him to do things that just take time for himself and spend it without the possibility of even doing work. And it completely changes energy and focus. And then number 10, I just have to push through. I just have to have this grind set, this mindset towards just hustle and grind. And again, as I've already said, that is something that I completely and utterly disagree with. So a few things that we just implemented for James that made a big difference for him. And it sounds obvious, but your energy starts with your fuel. What you're putting into your body is really, 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 really important. And James was surviving off of convenience foods, whether that was stopping at a supermarket and getting a quick meal deal, whether it's stopping at fast food, or of course with his Property and Poppadoms, having 3 to 4 curries per week as well. So it was all quick convenience. There was no good ingredients in there. There was no whole foods. It was just pure convenience. Okay, and I completely understand it because he's super, super busy. And again, when people think of eating healthy, they think of things with 100 ingredients in or cooking fresh every single meal, and it's not necessarily the case. So what we did for James, no crash diets or cutting out his social life. That was number 1. Ultimately, if I did that and I put James on this really strict protocol, he'd probably last a week before saying fuck this and then feeding into these belief systems even more. He still had 1 to 2 curries every single week. So if you've seen James at Property and Poppadoms, he has still been having his, I believe his chicken tikka masala is to go to. But we just made some changes to his order. And, you know, one of those things was, okay, let's have half a rice instead of a whole rice. Let's not go for a naan bread. You know, you can have a bite of it rather than the whole thing. And just cut out the sides and starters and stick to a 0 drink instead. It's that simple. That's way that we can manage calories. And if we want to manage calories while you're out, on an even larger basis, you go for a lean option with no creamy sauce. So something from an Indian would be like the chicken tandoori would be the best shout with half a rice, and that is going to be able to control your calories. And anyway, in general, 80% of his food that we switched to was whole foods and built around his lifestyle. I can't stress this enough. 80% of anyone's diet, in my opinion, should be good quality whole foods. That's good quality meats, eggs, dairy, carbohydrate that's straight from the ground, things like sweet potatoes, so on and so forth, and good quality healthy fats, which I'm going to come on to in a second. We made sure, so when James came to us, he was struggling with bloating. He was struggling with inflammation, as you can somewhat see in this picture. And bloating and inflammation is an absolute energy drain on the body. So that's one of the first things we wanted to get rid of. And a big part of that is your gut health. Now, if we put this into, I don't know if any of you have heard this, but the gut is commonly named the second brain. And the reason for that is because ultimately your gut is what digests the nutrients in your food. And if your gut isn't working properly and it's not digesting the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals in your food, ultimately, you're not going to be getting what you need from the food. So even if your diet's pretty good, but your gut health's very poor, you're not going to be getting what you need from that food. And therefore, it's going to take a toll on your energy. It's going to take a toll on your focus, your productivity, all of that good stuff. So we made sure that we made good choices for his gut health in his meal plan as well. Next was making sure that he had high healthy fats in his diet. I say for most business owners, most entrepreneurs, healthy fats should be promoted, not demonized. You see some people avoid high fat foods because they believe obviously it's a high calorie amount, which it is. It has 9 calories per gram as opposed to proteins or carbohydrates that are 4 calories per gram. But they are imperative for your hormone function. They're imperative for your cognitive function. And if you don't have enough healthy fats in your diet, things like avocados, fatty fish like salmon, maybe some nuts, good quality olive oil, those kind of things, then you're brain function is not going to be at your best. Your hormone function is not going to be optimized. So it's really important that we have good quality, healthy fats in there. And then high protein for the fact of appetite suppression, for the fact of muscle building, and for the fact of ultimately getting him where he wants to go with his physique, as well as all of these other good things that we've spoken about. And then for James, we had a caffeine strategy. This was imperative from day one, as I found out how much caffeine he was drinking, and there was no wonder he wasn't feeling his best, because caffeine, it has a very long half-life, right? So what a half-life means is, let's say, I'll put this in really simple terms. Let's say I have a cup of coffee at 12 o'clock midday. The half-life of caffeine is around about 7 hours. So 7 hours later, 7 p.m., I still have half that cup of coffee, the caffeine of that cup of coffee, circulating in my body. So even if I can sleep at that point, my sleep quality is going to be impaired due to the caffeine that I have in my body. So if you have 8, 9, 10 coffees a day, even 3, 4 coffees a day, my God, is that having an impact on your energy levels? Absolutely yes. And even the fact that you feel like you need that much caffeine is a problem in itself. And that means that you have something to look at that we need to be improving. Okay, guys? So yeah, really, really important. So caffeine strategy was simple. No longer did he have the coffee as soon as he woke up. We wanted to make sure that we actually used his natural wake up systems, which everybody should be doing. And caffeine actually blocks that process. It blocks you from naturally waking up. So what we do is we stop you from, or not everyone, but with this strategy, I would ask James to stop drinking his coffee within 90 minutes of waking up to ensure that his natural wake up system was working first and foremost. And then we would say just cut out your coffee before 1 p.m. In the afternoon to ensure that it is mostly out of your system by the time that you go to bed and you can get good quality sleep. The energy change that shifted when it came to his nutrition and managing his caffeine properly was fantastic. But also, this is what we did with his sleep. Now, sleep is so important for so many reasons, guys. Yes, we could talk about the energy, the focus, the productivity, how it's going to help you diet, all of that good stuff. But also the research that it points to in terms of longevity, in terms of living a long, healthy life. My God, it's so, so important. It is linked to so many diseases, illnesses, cancers, and if you're not getting enough sleep, like, I would seriously, if there's one thing that you take away from this, go have a look at that. So previously, James had no care about his sleep quality. He was commonly getting 4 to 5 hours per night of poor quality sleep. And I say poor quality because before he was going to bed, he was checking emails, he was making calls, he was working, he was just like generally hectic and chaotic. And I wanted to get him to 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep. And that's where we are now. He's getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and his implemented the routines that we have put in place to make sure that he gets a good rhythm and a good routine bedtime as possible. So what have we done there? Again, recommended 7 to 9 hours per night. Now, the first thing that we did was set a routine in place. So just say, go to bed at 10, wake up at 6, for example. That's 8 hours. Make sure you sleep at 10, wake up at 6. But keep them same times, there or thereabouts, every day, because rhythm with sleep is really, really, really important. Number 2 was limiting cortisol 1 to 2 hours before bed. Now, cortisol is your stress hormone. Cortisol is a very useful hormone, but it is used in that natural wake-up system that I was talking a minute ago in the morning, okay? Cortisol should be high in the mornings and it should be low at night. Now, if you're someone that, like James, was checking his emails, making phone calls, doing work before you go to bed, your cortisol is going to be high at night and it's going to affect your sleep quality, or you might just struggle getting sleep. So we wanted to limit and actually dump his cortisol before he goes to bed. So doing things that would relax him. For different people, it's going to be different things. For myself, it's just taking a warm bath or reading a book or something like that, just an hour or two before you go to bed. And not scrolling on your phone, not doing any work at that time, and making sure that you've actually had time to wind down, making your lights nice and dim in your house. Don't be walking around in what's as good as daylight in your house at that time. Like, use lamps as opposed to overhead lights and things like that. Really, really important. No caffeine after 1 p.m. for the reasons that I've already suggested, and no food or drink 2 hours before bedtime. That was the simple kind of sleep optimization that we did with James. There's so much that we could look into as well off the back of this, guys. No matter where you are with your kind of routine and sleep, that could or maybe might improve your where you are with your sleep at the moment. We can look into supplementation, so on and so forth. Okay. And then we optimized his activity as well. So one of the big things, again, in his belief system was ultimately he doesn't have time for this. And that's because he believed that he had to train like a bodybuilder and ultimately to get in shape. It's not true, okay? We built it around his life 3 times per week for around 40 minutes per day. Like, that's not much. It's not even 3 episodes in Netflix. If you have a look at your screen time, I guarantee every single one of you can get that in. And the big mindset switch for James was that he saw the benefit in this because he had more focus, he had more productivity, he was pumped up, he felt motivated, he felt better in himself, and he was making quicker decisions with more clarity after training and when this was in his life consistently. So actually he was getting more done in less time because he had implemented the training, because he had implemented the nutrition. So it's really, really important. The next thing with his activity was just making sure that he did daily walks and steps. And ultimately the biggest thing with this, again, is time. It's okay, it's all well and good saying go out and get 10,000 steps in, but if you don't have the time to do so, it's useless me saying that. So we implement it into your life in a way which fits around your life. So I'll give you an example, a personal example for myself. Yesterday, I didn't do any kind of structured walks. Okay, I didn't go out and just walk for an hour. But what I did have was 4 client calls, 4 phone calls around 20, 30 minutes each. And instead of standing here on my laptop and taking them, I just walked up and down the road outside on WhatsApp and I just kind of paced. That alone got me over 10,000 steps. So you have to think about ways to get this general activity and these general steps that is going to fit around your life. That might be being able to kind of text on a treadmill while you're doing some emails. It might be, like I said, you're walking while you're on your phone, taking your stairs in your apartment instead of the lift, whatever that might be, okay? Parking 10 minutes away from the office or 10 minutes away from your site visit to make yourself do an extra 1,000, 2,000 steps to get there, for example. But again, steps and general activity, the links to mortality rates, aka death rates, and your chance of dying early are absolutely huge. Getting at least 8,000 steps in per day, just from a health and longevity standpoint, should be number 1 or number 2 action behind sleep for everybody watching this. If your steps are at 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 per day, you are risking dying early more so than anyone above 8,000 by quite a large percentage, okay? On top of that, it is shown to have huge impact on your mental health, and anyone below, I believe it's 6,000 steps in this study, with is more likely to experience mental health problems, depression, anxiety than the people that are getting more steps in. So again, really important. If you're struggling with anxiety, depression, so on and so forth, again, you're not going to be at your best. I'm speaking from experience here with myself and the hundreds of clients that we've worked with. Next is just a general routine and habits that we implemented in James's life. And look, guys, I want to keep this relatively short, and each of these could have an hour to itself. But everything comes back to routine and habits. The nutrition, the sleep, the training. Everything comes back to routine and habits. For example, for nutrition, it's making sure that he was planned and prepared before he went into the office, making sure that he had some food prepped that is going to fit his goals. Or if he didn't have it prepped, at least that he knew the habit was when he goes into Tesco to pick up the right food that we've set him instead of picking up the wrong stuff that's not serving him. Okay, so we rebuilt his daily habits. We rebuilt his routines to actually support him, because if you don't have this and your routines and your habits are out of whack from where you want to go, you're just setting yourself up for failure, guys. Same in business, right? So we use things like habit stacking, ultimately putting one habit on top of another very already powerful habit and using that neurological connection that we have with the current habit. And ultimately the final point is accountability on this journey was key for James. I think he would tell you himself, well, he definitely would, because he said it on a webinar the other night. But accountability was absolutely key. Having the support and guidance from myself, helping him keep his head screwed on when things weren't going his way, and when he was struggling, stopped him from quitting and ensured that he got there. So we gave and still give James the accountability, the support and the guidance to make sure that he can never get stuck in the program, and that isn't a possibility. So the results, finally. Number 1, he lost a belly in 8 weeks. This is literally 8 weeks here, which is crazy. Energy literally 10x'd, and probably more. Like, he is in a completely different stratosphere when it comes to his energy. His performance is far better in his business and in his work. He's getting more done in less time, and also performance as a man in general is far better. Him as a father, so on and so forth. He's just a better person because of this, because he's looking after himself. And I would just say here, that is definitely the number 1 reason why men and women come to us to make a change. It isn't because they want a set of abs. It isn't a particular shape that they want to get in. It's because they realize they want to be a better person for their family. They want to be a better person for their business. They want to be generally a better person in their life. That is the number one reason why people come to us, not necessarily because of the looks. So yeah, it's amazing that he's been able to achieve this. And then his general health markers have improved massively. His bloating, his inflammation, and yeah, just everything, how he's feeling, so on and so forth. So, guys, if you want results like James, number one, you can scan this QR code. You can book in for a quick game plan call with myself, where I'll run you through a personal game plan, run you through exactly how we can implement what we did for James, for you, around your lifestyle, and see if it'll work. Look, that's just a conversation. And if on the conversation you decide, oh, wow, Archie's someone I want to work with, brilliant. We can kind of explore that, see if we're a good fit to work together and go from there. If you don't, that's no problem at all. You still just walk away with a game plan. So book in for a call if you want to have a chat. I think it'll be really useful for you. Number two, if you're a little bit more shy and you don't want to go straight to jumping on a call with me, even though I'm not too scary, you can DM me on Facebook or Instagram. Just send me the message, James, so I know you came from here. And yeah, there is my Instagram there. It is archie.optimized, or my Facebook is Archie Gravener. Gravenor. So yeah, guys, I look forward to hearing from some of you. I hope that was useful. Again, I'm just trying to put as much content out as possible that will ultimately help you guys change your lives. Whether you end up hiring myself and my team or not, I want to make sure you've got all the information to go out there and do it yourselves. Okay, so anything that I can help you with, drop me a message. I look forward to speaking to you. Cheers.